Yeah, I'm recording now.
Oh, you can ask things.
Okay. So, what would be great from you all, and actually from people who aren't even on right now, would be to get some idea of things that you would like Stephanie to talk about in her theory seminar. The seminar is too strong a word. Don't worry about it. It's not that bad. Um, no, the point is basically, I think I'm encouraging her to shape what she teaches based on what you are interested in learning about, right? So it would be helpful if some of you have things, directions you want to go. You could put it in the chat right now if you want to do that. You can send me an email. That's all right too. You can send Stephanie an email if you have her email address. You might not. So anyway, just looking for input. We will find some interesting things to do on the 1st and the 8th, and then we will probably not meet after our concert on the 11th. I don't think, well, I have no plans to do it at this point. So if there's a groundswell from you all that you say, well, we got to meet on the 15th, we got to do a post performance prandial, whatever thing,
Finger
then
finale.
what? Oh, finger food finale. That's right. Yes, we could do that. So, all right. So we'll see about that later. Anyway, meanwhile, today my plan is to work on, again, Santa Gets a Suntan Down Under and Christmas Memories, and just review some of the things that we've been working on. I have received tracks from a number of people, but not nearly everybody yet for those. So let me review a few things for you. First of all, in my email to the group, I said the absolute deadline for final submissions of tracks is this coming Sunday, the 29th. So please don't send me anything after that, and I'll probably need to say that again for some who aren't on right now. It's what I've learned is it's possible. I can take a new track in later on, but it means I have to go back steps in the process for those tracks that I hadn't had yet, which takes time and distracts me from making progress. And so that's preferably not what I would want to have happen. So please get your tracks in by Sunday, the 29th, this coming Sunday. So what else? Lots of interesting things happening on uh, in my life with this project. So, oh wait, Ed, go ahead. Yes,
No,
question.
just will you tell us, can you tell us if you have bald spots, places
Well,
where you need fill in?
right, more of a given part, right?
Correct.
Well, yeah, okay. Right now, I'm assuming that I'm going to get some more bass and tenor tracks from singers who haven't submitted them yet, for particularly for Christmas Memories and Santa. And but I don't really know until I've seen those tracks coming in. So in a way, I won't know until Sunday what I might need. Perhaps I will communicate with an individual or two if I want a couple more tracks from a couple people, basses or tenors. It won't be altos and sopranos. You're fine. Thank you very much. Uh, yeah,
That's all.
it's the
You.
same proportions that we have, in our rehearsals in person. So that's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. It's just a matter of who the numbers are. And in fact, when I listen to the tracks, like for example, I've been doing a lot of editing on Sing On, and the balance is not bad. It's working fine between the basses and tenors and altos and sopranos. So we're fine there. So going back to what I was talking about, things that are happening for me. As Lorraine said, she gave me a Christmas gift early, and I have these two big monitors. They call them studio monitors, right? They're just speakers, but they are so that I can hear the mix that I'm doing, not just through headphones or through the computer speakers, but also through a good quality set of speakers. Now we want to make sure that our mixes sound good, whether they're on a phone or a laptop speaker, or a good set of headphones or a good set of speakers. So ideally, we're covering all those bases in the way that we mix the final version of the audio. And so now I have that tool to help me. And also, as Lorraine was saying to some of you, I've been doing so much editing that my ears are hurting from the headphones. And so it's good to be able to get them off sometimes. So I've done a lot of editing, spent a lot of hours. I spent, well, just to give you an idea, I spent 12 hours, I think, on Saturday or Sunday editing, just
Oh,
editing. And that was just one day. And there's a lot of editing to be done. This is not a reflection on your singing, on your skills. Consider that things that you would do naturally just by being in the same room with each other, you can't do in terms of listening to each other and making sure you're aligned with each other. We can't do that in this context. And so there are things that I have to adjust myself through the computer that you would automatically do in rehearsal. So that's part of what that editing is. That's a lot of what that editing is, actually. But it's coming together. I did have a time, Friday morning particularly, where I was unsure that I was going to be able to complete all the work that was needed before the concert. And so I asked Thyatira, who is the person I've been working with on editing, I asked him to actually take on some of the editing himself. So he, as I mentioned in my emails, he has lots of experience, goes back at least 10 years working with Logic. And his cousin, I gather, is a musician in Jordan who has done a lot of music and actually has a particular song, I guess, with a million followers, a million hits on YouTube, you know. So he's being listened to, and he has skills, and Thyatira has learned those from him and has skills of his own and is sharing those with me. So I asked him, making use of my director's discretionary fund that Jim Monroe contributed to for several years in a row. Thank you, Jim. And so we were able to pay Thyatira some portion of his efforts. And between the two of us, Thyatira and I will be able to cover the work that needs to be done. And when I get past the editing process into the mixing and mastering process, I'll definitely be calling on Thyatira at that point because he has experience and I have basically zero as far as making a final mix sound good and all those things like compression and stuff like that. So that's one thing that I've been working on. Koizi and I have been working also on promotion and things like that. Dave Ward at Copy and Print, who's been designing our Christmas posters and other graphics for years, has come up with a nice design for us, which will be both a promotional thing and also a little bit of an explanatory thing about what it is that we're doing. And I'm not sure if we'll be able to get the graphic ready for you all before Thanksgiving, 2 days from now. We might make that deadline, we might not. I would love for you to have that so you can send it out because I can imagine people are going to be communicating with friends and family on Thanksgiving, and that would be a great time to be able to say, here's what we're doing. We'll see if we can make that. But it'll be pretty whenever it comes out, and so that's a nice little piece too. We'll have it up on the website and all that kind of thing. We will be directing people to the Skagit Valley Chorale website in order to register for the concert. I had been torn about whether to ask people to register or not for the concert because it's a step that for people who are not tech savvy might be it might be a barrier. It might stop people from attending who would like to attend, and I hope that we can work around that. But what from Lee was telling me that the LaConner, was it the city council meeting recently was Zoom bombed apparently in a very unpleasant way recently, and so it happens. It happens locally. We want to make sure that that doesn't happen, and one of the ways we do that is by making sure we know who is in our concert, and that means we have them register. So that's where I'm coming from now and figuring out how to make that work in the most easy way possible. So that's another step. Um, Lots of people are sending in photos. It's very cool. I'm going to spend actually a portion of the time tonight showing you how the PowerPoint slideshows are going to work with the songs. I put together part of one for Sing On. It does not have your audio. It has my original practice audio tracks, but it'll give you an idea of how the timing will work and things like that. And I'm going to be asking people to help with that process. Take a song on. If you know how to use PowerPoint, you take a song on, I will point you, I will give you access to the photos that people have been submitting. I'll ask you to put those photos in a way that makes sense to you, that seems creative and artistic. And we may have several versions of the same song. That's okay. We'll choose one or two perhaps, and one of them, of course, that we'll use in the concert, and maybe others that could go up on YouTube after the concert. So I'll show you what that process is like today. So that's coming, and the photos there. I have basically three categories of photos that I'm putting. I have folders for each, and one of them is essentially scenic photos, and then another is family members, chorale family members, and members, and then the third is chorale decorations, Christmas decorations. You know, the elves, the Christmas trees, the wreaths, the things that you've taken pictures of and submitted. And given, depending on the different song that you were doing, this different song that you're putting together pictures for, those different sets of pictures may be more or less helpful. One of the questions that I have not resolved for myself, and I want to pawn it off onto somebody else, is Betelehemu. How do we put images with Betelehemu? Do we attempt very, very, very carefully to find images from Nigeria related to Christmas there? Do we use something of our own? Does it not really relate very closely to the text? The text is quite religious. We're not a religious organization, and it's important, I think, that we not come across that way, but we also have a text that we are representing in our song. And so how do we strike that balance between that? I ran into the same issue when I did the college choir and we were doing the Sanctus, and I had students showing lots of religious imagery, and it's like, how do so there are questions there, and probably need to have more conversation about that, but hopefully somebody among the group will be inspired to say, I have an idea for how to put images with that text so that it works for our chorale, and it seems like a good artistic way to express it. So let's see. So super titles. I've been hearing from band members. We have for Santa, for Down Under Santa Gets a Suntan, we have trumpet 2, horn 1 and 2, trombone 1, and tuba so far, which means we need 3 trumpets and 2 trombones to contribute. And then we'll have all the band members for that, and then 2 percussionists. I've talked to Steve Saman and Patrick Roulette lately, and they're probably either recording now or they will be tomorrow, and they'll be sending me their tracks very soon. And I don't know if I mentioned this already, maybe I did. I had asked Patrick and Saman and Steve if either of them played Bowron, which I'm going to put Bowron in the chat here because you all need to see how you spell it and how you say it. Okay, the Irish drum called the bowron. People think of it as bowron, like that. And that's how you say it, but that's of course not how you spell it. And please don't say bodron or something like that. Don't say that. So bowron. It's the Irish drum. It looks like a frame drum, but it has the crossbars in the back that you hold on to, and it's got the tipper, I think it's called, is the beater that you use with it. And it's different from the frame drum, or you can do this. Yeah, that's right. It's different from the frame drum in the more Middle Eastern tradition, but that's basically all I know about it. However, neither Patrick nor Steve plays bowron particularly, but Patrick knows a bowron player in Texas, and he asked her to do it for us, and she's going to do it for free. And she actually has a master's in Irish music from somewhere in Ireland. And I've asked her, I'm going to interview her in the Zoom concert for a few minutes. She'll talk about the bowron, and it'll just be a little added special guest thing. So she's probably recording her tracks as we speak, which is about 20 seconds of music in Christmas Memories, because that's all the bowron is called for in that song. So that's coming along. Meanwhile, I was looking for more images of for Santa Gets a Suntan down under. I always say that wrong. Never mind. Oh, look, Ruth you have a bowron right there. Everybody look at Ruth Backlund. She's got a bowron. See the crossbars in the back there? Okay, so there you have it. That's what a bowron looks like. Anyway, so I am still looking for more images for down under Santa gets a suntan. I have a special surprise as via Marty. Um, it's, I guess I got to tell you about it because you're going to see it before the concert anyway. So, or Marty, do you want to unmute and tell us about those photos, or shall I just tell? Okay, I'll tell. All right. So she, Marty and her husband have her daughter and grandchildren live in Australia. And in times that aren't pandemics, they usually go to Australia and visit their family there. And Marty has a series of photos of her husband, whose name I can't remember, um, and two grandkids jumping from the side of a pool into the pool. And Grandpa has a Santa Claus hat on. And there happens to be a palm tree in the background also, which is great, nice little extra detail. And so there are several, like 10 photos in the sequence, and it shows them in different points of jumping and then disappearing into the water. And I'm going to use several of those spaced throughout Down Under Santa Gets a Suntan, and you'll see that process of them going into the water. I've already got that starting to be set up, and so that's fun. But I still need more photos of tropical climes with Santas. And so I emailed David Hamilton in New Zealand asking him if he could come up with some, which didn't pay off too well. It didn't, I think, well, the problem was I didn't want to be overloaded with photos. I had thought about asking David to ask all his friends, to send us photos. And then I thought, I could get several hundred photos that way. And I don't want that many, thank you. But I think maybe I underplayed it a little bit. And so he said, well, you could look on the internet. Okay, we could do that. Anyway, point is, if you got more pictures of Christmas in the tropics, um, you can send them my way. Also, perhaps I would actually ask you to go look on the internet. Some of you do a little search on the internet, find copyright free, permission granted photos that we can use that are high enough resolution that they won't get pixelated, and of Christmas decorations in tropical areas, ideally New Zealand or Australia, but we'll see. We're going to have actually Ruth will use that photo from Hawaii. I think we'll go ahead and go with that. So so that's another piece. And then finally, one other piece that I've got going on. David Schroeder, who you'll recall was our announcer and script writer for our radio shows, I've asked him to step in and help again for free. And he'll be writing a script for a couple of public service announcement type, commercial type things during the concert, during the Zoom concert. Hopefully we'll do it live. And he will be our spokesperson to ask our audience for donations. So he'll find some creative and sweet way to do that, to ask for those. And that'll also be a reference for our members, for our audience, referencing back to concerts that we've done in the past with David that are part of our history, part of our tradition, part of our community. So I'm excited about that too. So I think that covers a lot of what I wanted to tell you about. And there's always more, but yeah, Mark, go ahead. You got a question or a thought?
Yeah, Adam, I just want to thank you for all the incredible energy you're putting into this. And seriously, it's just a marvelous. And not only are you putting in energy, but I think you're really going for quality and getting the very best people to do things. And I just am so grateful on this day before Thanksgiving to what you're doing. And I think everyone here can give a wave of the hand in agreement with that. So
thank you.
Thank you
that
very much.
You're welcome. Yeah, it is. I'm going to call it a labor of love, and I want to see it go well. And we don't know what's going to happen in the spring for the chorale. We haven't. The board has not made that decision, and it's important if people feel like they want to continue that's communicated to the board members. And there are questions about finances that do need to be thought through and addressed, and that's part of what is the decision making process for the board. So and we can leave that. We don't have to make decisions about that right now. We can wait and see what the reception is of of the audience and how the donations go and how our bottom line looks after this concert. Because there is no matter what we do, no matter what we would have done this year, we would have taken a loss. If we hadn't done anything, we would have taken about a $5,000 loss. As it is, the losses are greater because the expenses are greater. And you've done well. Thank you all in with donating. And so that's very good, but it's not enough to cover the expenses that we are accruing at this point. So there's more to be said about that. And that's more for the board, I think, to communicate to you than for me. But I just want you to be aware that that is something that's under consideration. So yes, Mark, go ahead again.
Sorry to keep jumping in here. On this note of how many people we've got for each part and how many submissions you've got, you had mentioned in the past about maybe needing some of us to do more than one recording so that you could blend them, and they're each, even though they're the same person, they're slightly different enough to kind of enrich the sound. Are you going to need more basses, more of anything from any of us?
Yeah.
What do you have for each part at this point?
Well, it's too early to say for, so first of all, for Sing On, I don't need anything more. For Betelehemu, I don't think that I need anything more, although I'm not quite sure about that. For the remaining three, Solstice, Christmas Memories, and Santa, it's too early to tell. As I was saying earlier, the deadline, I'll put this in the chat here, deadline is, well, and I said it in my email, is Sunday, November 29th. That's the deadline for your last tracks. And by that time, I'll have a better idea of what our balance is going to sound like. Well, actually, it'll be after that because it won't be Monday that I hear all that stuff. It'll be over the course of days. Bottom line, probably I'm not going to be asking people for more tracks. Probably not. Probably we're going to work with what we got. By the way, Thyatira is also singing. He sung a Betelehemu track, so he's involved. And as let me go back a little bit because we got a few more people who've joined. So Thyatira is the person who I've been working with. By the way, a big shout out to Rod and Nanette in the chorale, who were the ones that introduced Lorraine and me to Thyatira and his wife, Elena. Thyatira is the caretaker for Vendovi Island in the San Juan Islands. And so he's there. They're there right now. Actually, they're going to be there all by themselves for some time. I think maybe in January they'll head down to Louisiana, which is where he's from, actually. But anyway, point is, he's got lots of experience. He is doing the editing of Betelehemu right now, and we'll see about whether I ask him to do a bit of another piece or something. But certainly he'll be involved with the mastering and the mixing.
You can see it from here, Adam. Vendovi.
Oh yeah, okay.
Yeah.
It's cool. We've had dinner there a couple times. So what was I going to say? I guess that's good. That's a lot of time. We spent a lot of time talking, but there's lots to catch you up on. And as I mentioned, got to do the PowerPoint thing. Question, should we do the PowerPoint thing first and then do the singing all in a long bunch, or should we sing and then PowerPoint and then sing again? Okay, sing, PowerPoint, sing again. Votes up, hands up. Versus PowerPoint now and then sing, 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 sing. Hands up. I can't tell. Oh well. Let's do PowerPoint right now. All right, so I'm going to share the screen with you, and I think I'll explain before what you're going to be seeing. Today I put together part of Sing On with slides in PowerPoint with the timing of the slides related to when the text, when a given phrase in the song happens. Now, in the past, like Sheila's husband, Keith Tunney, has been doing our super titles, and Dave Cross has done them, and Don Burdick, my brother's done them, and other people have done them for us over the last few years. And so there you have an operator saying, now, they're listening to the music and they're saying, this is when I want that slide to change to the next set of words. But because I don't want to have to do that during the Zoom concert, I want that to be automated. I have to set the timings for each given slide so that they match with the song. And that's something, that may be something that I need people to help with on the other songs that they work on. But anyway, this will give you an idea of how this is going to work. So I'm going to share my screen with you. And I'm going to go to PowerPoint. Oh, it's not loaded. Sorry about that. And we're going to go to Sing On. Okay. So I think I'll start here. And this might be something like what we see. Oh, the other thing I want to remind you of is that the audio track that I'm using here is my original practice guide with the all parts equal. And when I have the final mix that's a whole choir singing, it'll be easy to just pop that right in. Actually, if you look here on this slide right here, see that audio? That's the audio right there. And so all I have to do is switch audio files and switch it to the final version. Anyway, okay, here we go. Oh, actually, wait a minute. Sorry, hang on just a second. Well, let me know when the screen comes up if you can hear the audio. I want to make sure that that's thumbs up. Good. Thanks to the people who contribute photos already on these. Sometimes when I chance to catch the sunrise, rising o'er the eastern range, something inside me winds up singing. Something inside me is changed. And deep inside it seems there's more to life than we might know. And it stirs the musing in my soul. Sing on, whatever comes your way, sing on, sing on. Keep your music going, flowing from your heart until the day is past and gone. Take the time to look around and find the things that keep you singing on, sing on. Okay, so that's all I'm going to show you of that one. But a lot of those photos were Peggy's. Thank you, Peggy. Beautiful photos. And the other people who contributed too. There's lots of beautiful photos to choose from. And so the rest of this project will be choosing images that seem to relate to the text as we go through the rest of the words in the song. And they may be very close, they like flowing. I was thinking creek or river flowing, I don't know, but they may not actually really have very much to do with the text, and that's okay too. So I'm going to need people to help, not necessarily on Sing On, I might finish that one myself, but with the other songs. Now I want to show you one other thing. My idea for Christmas memories has always involved having photos of chorale members in the set, like collages or something like that. And I'll tell you, I'm not a graphic designer. I don't have a great eye for certain things in terms of like how you put photos together, but I want to give you a glimpse of what I had in mind for that with Christmas memories. So I'm going to go back and share that. And I don't have audio for this one. I just have oops. Thank you. Let's close that. I just have a few images to show you. So, for example, here's one. So this is somebody's photo. I can't remember who, and this is something we'll need to keep track of, is who contributed what photo. But it's just a decoration from Christmas from somebody's house, and they'll say, "Hey, I know who that is. I know that deck." Something like that. So then there's another one. This is another idea. These are different photos that people sent to me of decorations. And again, the spacing and the location where the text would be and where the photos would be, how many photos, that kind of thing, I don't know. I need some help with this. Okay, and here's another option, another way it might look. So I love this one. This is great. So that's an idea, and of course, with the final version, this would be Eric would be singing, "And we're coming home for Christmas Day," through this particular slide. And each time we have that, we would have a different set of photos. I need more photos from chorale members who want to be included in this. Hello, hello, hint, hint. I need more photos from people if you want to be represented in this. So yes, and also somewhere in this song, it's my intention that we have Nikki and Carol and a particular page that says in memory, in honor of Nikki and Carol. So that's what I've got so far for the PowerPoint. And again, I need help. I want people to take over Betelehemu. Solstice song would be good. Santa, I've got some stuff for Down Under Santa, but I need more for that one. So there you have it. Thoughts or questions? Nothing so far. Okay. So
Adam,
yeah,
quick
go ahead.
question, Adam. Do we need to get permission from Carol and Nikki's families?
Yes, we do. Absolutely, we should do that. Yes, thank you for asking. And that has been in my mind. So yeah. And there is, there is a kind of I have to say, an expectation for me, for those photos that you submit, that it's okay to be using them and it's okay for your family members to show up in those photos. So if it's not, then just please don't submit a photo. I actually asked Marty to ask her daughter that it would be okay to show the grandchildren in the photos. So, we're being careful about this. And of course, the similar sort of careful thing is to make sure we're not using photos that are copyright protected. My students at the college were not always really good about that. And so I had to keep reminding them. So any other thoughts or questions? All right. What I want to do is I want you to email me if you are interested in participating. Email me and say, yes, Adam, I would like to do X song. How do I start? Okay, and that would be a good thing to do. Okay. By the way, over here in the chat, somebody, Cynthia asked if Costa Rica is okay. Sure, why not? And Kauai, how do you say that word? Somebody please who's been to Hawaii.
Hawaii.
Kauai. Okay. Oh, good. Yeah. Okay. So I think it's time to sing a little bit. We haven't sung yet, so I'm figuring you probably don't need to take a break yet, right? Okay. Straw phonation. Here we go. So let's do, as Scott encourages us to do, let's do 3 low blasts to start with. And blast being taken easily is not blasting, it's just low toots. So. And again. And now let's do some slides, medium range to start with. Here we go. Are you putting your head towards the straw? Don't do that, right? Bring the straw to you. Are you letting your lips totally round around the straw? You want to do that. You don't want air escaping. Do it again. Here we go. Okay. Now let's also do just some actually pitched slides so that we're really thinking about what pitch we're singing, we're strawing, phonating, whatever. Let's start at a B flat. And we'll go 1, 5, 1, so on the straw. Here we go. And here. And smoothly. Then here. Then here. Then here. By the way, I want to say hi, Lois. Nice to see you in the group. And this must be kind of like watching paint dry. Is that true? Okay, let's do another one and go. And here. Now for the tenors and basses, you're going to be getting into the part of your range where you're shifting into a higher range. Let that happen with a freedom and an ease. They're not pressing. Here we go. And here. And here. And one more. Where'd we get to? I think that was about an F or an F sharp. No. Wait a minute. What the heck was that? I don't know. Oh well, never mind. It was high-ish. Okay, let's see. I wanted to actually do another exercise that we're going to shift. We're going to start it with straw, and then we're going to shift to vowel. And also I want to do some of both Christmas memories and Santa Gets a Suntan on straw, specifically the long phrases. One thing that I've heard both in the recordings and I've heard from people talking about what they're struggling with or what they're working on is the sustaining of pitch, the sustaining of tone throughout a long phrase or even a medium length phrase, particularly in the oohs and in the opening section of Santa Gets a Suntan. These are long legato phrases, and the straw hopefully will help you find a way to keep connected through that whole phrase. First though, we're going to just do so it'll be like 1 3 5 3 5 4 3 2 1 in terms of scale degrees, and let's do it a little bit slower than that. So it'll be like this. It'll be like well, I have to demonstrate. Here we go. 1 2 3 and so here it's 1 3 5 3 5 4 3 2 1, and you're thinking about staying steady, connected, and thinking about how your voice adjusts easily from pitch to pitch. And once again, 2 3 and here we go. And up. And up. And up. And two more. Actually, I want to stop before we do a couple more, and I want to remind you of what we talked about last week with resonance, right? We were looking at resonance in a table, talking about resonance in a trumpet, and talking about resonance in the voice. One of the things that straw phonation also helps with, we've talked about how it balances out the pressure below and above the glottis so that it releases a certain degree of pressure on the glottis, which is your larynx. Right? That's the vocal cords. So, but another thing that straw phonation does for you is it kind of encourages you to have that open space in your pharynx, in your resonating chambers, that allows more of that resonant tone to vibrate in sympathy with the fundamental that you are singing, the basic pitch that you're singing. So as you're doing a few more straw phonation exercises, I want you to be aware, how does it feel in there? Do you feel an awareness of a greater space, of a greater degree of vibration than you might at other times? A few more, here we go. We're going to start here on a E. Okay, 2 3 and go. And here. Does the space change as you get higher? And here. Two more. And one more. Now, I don't want to discourage you from taking these exercises higher than we may in rehearsal, because it's going to pay off for you, I think, especially if you have issues, if you struggle with getting into the upper part of your register. I've certainly found for myself that doing the straw phonation, suddenly I have much easier access to E's and F's and F sharps and higher. It's like I've been struggling with some of these high pitches for years, and yet suddenly the straw phonation is helping me. So now, what we were doing is we were doing that pattern, and I wanted to switch it to a set of vowels. So you can see, and you might hold the straw handy so that you can go back and forth between vowels and straw. Let's go back to a D. Da 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 da, and we're going to sing E A A E A A, and here E A A. I'm releasing from that E, that closed vowel, to the A, more open, to the ah, more open yet, and I'm thinking about lots of space and resonating feeling. And here, 2, 3, and breath. E, A, ah, keeping that ah quality the same, even when I go from the 5 to the 3 to 5. And here, 2, 3, and E, A, ah. I had too much pressure. I'm going to do it on the straw. Back to the vowels. E, A, A. My tone that second time through was a lighter quality. I didn't have as much weight, especially when I switched to the ah. And so I think that this straw phonation helped me clarify where it was that I wanted to place those vowels. That's part of what we do. Let's do a few more. So your choice, vowel or straw. 2, 3, and go. E, A, and here. E, A, I hear the crack, I need the straw, and it's here. E, A, and one more doing on the straw. Okay, so hit that higher note much more easily than I had before. Okay, yes, and now let's all wipe off our glasses, etc. Okay, so let's see. Now I want to switch over to, we'll go here maybe another 15 minutes and then we'll take a break. Maybe just one break tonight. I don't know. We'll see how it goes. You know what? Actually, yeah. So let's jump over to Christmas memories. No, sorry. Let's go to Santa. Santa Gets a Suntan. And sing the first 4 phrases of that song. And what I'd like you to do is have the straw handy so that you can go back and forth between text and straw phonation. So I think what I want to do, I'm going to pull up the song resources on the website so that you can listen to it. So I'm going to share my screen with you here in just a second, and then have you listen to the track there as you sing. Okay, so Santa, down under Santa Gets a Suntan. And I'll play the this one. So let's hear that. The bass part for Santa Gets a Suntan. Do, 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 do. 1, 2, 3. Down under Santa gets a suntan. There's no snow and green. tricky.
In the soft Pacific summertime, the only white that's ever seen is cricket on the floating green.
One, two. Okay, we'll stop there. Right, so the question is for you. Oops, sorry. It's still playing for me. Okay, so the question for you is, as you were doing that, I don't know how many of you were doing it with the straw. I saw a few people just singing the words. But the point is, when you do it with the straw, does it help you to sustain those tones through the whole phrase, particularly that fourth phrase that's so much longer than the other ones, right? It's totally okay if you stagger breathe. If you need to stagger breathe in the middle of that phrase, that's all right. But I'm encouraging you to, when you do your recording for Santa, if you haven't done it yet, do a little bit of straw phonation first. See if it puts you in a place where you can successfully sing those phrases, not just in terms of the length that you're singing, but in terms of the legato, in terms of the ease. How easy is it for you to sing that phrase with straw versus on vowel? Let's go back and sing that first phrase again, twice through, once with straw and then once without straw. Notice when you sing down under Santa gets a suntan, there's so many wonderful resonant vowels and consonants in that. You must have a field day with them. Now, do it first with the straw. And here's a B flat. Let's just check that. So B flat, alto, soprano. 2, 3, and go. Now we're going to do it on text. Down, ready, and down under Santa gets a suntan. I love that no snow on the straw. That's fun. And it actually takes a certain degree of coordination. So it's, I'm serious about doing it. It's not just for the fun, but it's also to say, I'm choosing exactly where I use my breath and how much power I use for it at that point. Okay. Anybody got anything to comment on about noticing what straw was like versus what text was like for you on that section? Okay, so what I want to do in the next 10 minutes then, we will come back to Christmas memories, I think, after the break in terms of the long phrase. But there's something that I wanted to do with you all today that I've been wanting to share for a few weeks. And when I started the session, I said, thanks to Lorraine for sharing her voice lesson stuff. That's a reference to what we're going to do right now. It's now on the website. You can get it there under the resources. If you go scroll down on the first page of resources below the songs to where the videos have been, you don't have to have that. I'll share it on my screen with you. But what it is it's a set of exercises from Lorraine's voice teacher, Charles Peterson, that encourage resonance, that encourage the feeling of resonance, particularly on the voiced consonants M, N, and NG. And it's a set of words which are lots of fun to say, which encourage a feeling of resonance. So I'm going to, actually I'll show you where you can find it so that you can get there if you want to. Okay, here we are on the website under Down Under, and I'm going to go back to All Songs, and I'm scrolling down here. There it is. Unfortunately, I need to change this because I forgot this isn't a link. The link is to the PDF here. So all right, so this is what we want to look at here, and I'm going to make it bigger if I can. Okay, I'm going to skip some of this right now, but the main thing is that make the sounds, the M or the N, longer than normal. So, for example, came, dame, name, beam. Or here we have prime, rhyme, foam, poem, and then tram, jam, thumb. I'm basically, you can choose which ones you want to say. I'm just reading different ones. But it's interesting because there are different sets of the words, the voiced consonants are in different sorry, this is hard to say. The voiced consonants are in different contexts in these different phrases, in these different columns here. So like bungle, that gives you, you have the ng, the voiced consonant on that, and then you have to come out of that into another voiced consonant on the L. Bungle. And prank, that one has the ng plus a k sound at the end. Each one of these sounds is something to spend a little bit of time with, to enjoy as you say it. And then there's just a great set of words here, you know, autumn, instrument, aquarium, elimination, countenance, and contentment. I should have done more consonant there. Contentment. So I encourage you to download this and occasionally take it out and speak some of these words. And when we come back to a phrase like down under Santa gets a suntan, you see where we're headed, right? You want to, and it may feel like you may be exaggerating, or I may be exaggerating, but when you're singing, down, what part am I singing? Down under Santa gets a suntan. One of the things that I think I'll get out of this sharing now. How do I get out of there? That's there. Okay. One of the things that I've been learning as I've been editing people's tracks is that there's a very visual representation of how clear people are when they go from one syllable, one pitch to another. For some people, it comes back to diction, partly it comes back to tone quality. So when people are indistinct in the change from one consonant to another or one syllable to another, it comes across in the logic waveform that it comes across as not very clear changes in pitch or in informant sets in the quality of the tone, which makes it harder to edit actually, and it makes it harder to make sure that it's lining up. So it all does come back to what your choral directors have been saying for years, and I have not really pressed on diction very much over the years, but maybe that is going to change now. When you come back to the choral director saying, make your diction distinct, make your changes clear and your pitch shifts clear, have it in mind exactly where you are and where you're going. These are lifetime studies, really, for singing. And it's not, no particular person needs to do it more than another. I see it for myself as well in my tracks. I can see that there are places where I could have been a lot more clear. And so when you do that, it helps me edit, but that's not really the purpose. The purpose is that what we get as a group is a more clarified relationship between the text that we're singing and the sounds we're producing. And so that comes across in the final mix as a much clearer, cohesive understanding of the words. Now, again, this is one of those things that would be a lot easier if we could do that in the same room, right? When you can't hear other people and you can't match their diphthongs, for example, we're working against a challenge in that way. But it's an opportunity to learn more about how we can do that better. So I'm not going to show you what some of those images look like, but it would probably be interesting to do that sometime, maybe next week or another time. So anybody got questions about what we've been working on? Okay, and regarding those N's and M's and NGs that I was just talking about, when you wake up in the morning and your voice is froggy and you don't feel like talking, those are a good time to be saying some of those consonants. Let your voice warm up on those. You could also warm up on straw phonation. Okay, I think it's time for a break. So let's go ahead and take 7 minutes, 8 minutes. That'll be simple. That's 7:35. Let's be back at 7:35, please.
Adam,
Yep.
Christmas memories.
Hmm.
I worked that this afternoon and felt less than competent. And there's so much of that for a bass that is soft,
Hmm.
and I don't know where to place soft.
Ah.
What can you fix? If I pump that up, sit back in my chair, would you rather have that than crappy soft? Because that's where I was. It
Hmm.
was not good.
Hmm. Okay. Thank you for pointing that out, or for thinking about that. First question I would ask, can you predict what it will be? Did you do straw phonation with it before you tried singing it?
4 minutes ago, I just realized on Santa that my warble, my vibrato, had been cut by 3/4, and I'm really surprised. I am really surprised. I had no idea. So I'll try it again when I'm warmed up here after Zoom.
Okay, okay.
See
And
what I get. But still, I mean, when you're directing and you're doing what's right, and you got us just narrowing down to nothing, well, I got nothing.
yeah, yeah, I
Boy,
understand. And I mean, the straw is just the first place that I'll start because that was the first question, but that's not the only thing I have in mind. Although I want to have you say that all again when everybody comes back. But well, we'll see. Anyway, so in terms of, well, first of all, if you were to sit back from the speaker and sing with a fair amount of power to keep it going, that's fine. I can adjust that. I can bring that down in the mix so that it's not overpowering. And I understand there can be a time when you need that. You have to provide some sort of motor running to keep that sound going. And and when one gets to a certain point of quietness, I can understand how it just suddenly drops out. I can hear that. So two options so far. One is straw. Second is sit back and sing with more volume. Another question I have is, have you experimented with semi-occluded vocal tract exercises? In other words, what we've just been working on, M, N, NG, or v, z, zh, any of those buzzes. Have you experimented with, can you experiment with trying those phrases with one of those voiced consonants to see if the pressure that puts on your voice, the back pressure, if that helps you keep a more continuous tone? I think that it might help you in that way, and I'd be
okay.
interested in you trying that out.
Well, when I guess at my age, I'll say my vibrato turns into pick a note. Uh, I'm getting a half a step in there. It's awful.
Mm, I
It's just
understand.
awful.
I
And
understand. Um, so when we come back here in 4 minutes, when everybody's back, I think what I'll do
yeah,
is I'll jump over to the Christmas memories like I was planning to, and do that with the straw and with some
well,
semi-occluded vocal tract exercises with M,
yeah.
N, and V, and Z, and see what we find out from that. And if you're
Well,
interested,
the
if you're
bubble
willing,
later, the
what?
bubble later. Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, maybe.
yeah,
Okay.
um, yeah. So also, there's something to be said for the intensity, the focus that one brings when you're thinking about crescendo and decrescendo in a phrase. And decrescendo is harder, but even like when I'm thinking about the part in Christmas Memories where the basses go, they sing like a D. Let's get a D in here, D flat. Um, they go like ooh. Ooh, coming down that line, the third measure and going on from there. Uh, Part of what helps me maintain my consistent tone is the intensity that I bring to the crescendo, going down that scale there. And that maybe comes back to what you're talking about, sitting back from the singer, back from the microphone and giving a little bit more intensity. That might, those things might go together. I don't know, I'm thinking aloud here.
Yeah, no, fine.
Okay. So, other thoughts, other questions? Anyone? Nina, does that really work for you well?
I love it.
Okay.
It's got little like nubbies, and so you can get your own. I fell a week
Oh.
or so ago and hurt my shoulder,
Oh, I'm sorry.
and so I can get the little spots out.
Uh-huh.
I highly recommend these.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's the kind of thing where I've looked at it and I thought, I don't know. I'm not saying, I don't disbelieve. I just don't know. You ever seen the Mr. Tingley things? They're like copper wires and you
Yeah,
put them on
yeah.
your head. And I had one of those for a while.
Yeah, those are good too.
I have one. It feels really good. Just my husband thinks I'm totally weird, but it's relaxing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
my kids have one of those.
Yeah. I don't know what happened to mine. Got lost in a move or something. Well, we have a couple more minutes here. Other thoughts, questions?
Where do you get one of those gadgets?
I got mine at the Skagit Valley Co-op right in Mount
Okay.
Vernon. But I'm sure you could get one online.
I'm fascinated by gadgets and that looks really cool. Okay, I'll have to check it out. Thank you.
Yeah.
See, things
Enjoy.
probably would never have brought that to rehearsal with you. So now,
She started something.
yeah,
You're all going to have them next time.
that's right.
Yes.
I'll figure out a way to make it be part of our vocal technique. Straw in one hand. What is it called, Nina?
This one is called the Back Knobber 2.
Oh,
I'll write it in the chat.
Okay,
All
thank
right.
you. So it's not even just the first edition, it's an improved version. So
My
And I've
daughter has one and she calls it a Theracane, like a candy cane, only it's
Oh,
a Theracane.
hurricane. Okay. And she made that up, I gather.
No,
Or-
I think the
Oh.
brand that she bought called it a Theracane.
Oh, okay. Okay.
Yeah.
Good. See, all kinds of things we can learn together. Okay, it's 7:35. We're back. So, you know what? Actually, I'm gonna just check my email real quick and see if somebody's desperately trying to join. Nope, doesn't look like it. Okay, so, so I was talking to Ed at the break about sustaining tone, and particularly when, well, anything. Ed, would you mind recapping some of what we talked about?
Well, I tried to work on Christmas memories, and for all of us, but the basses, we have a lot of soft singing, and Adam is directing us very soft fade outs. Actually, he wants some class, is what he wants. And I find that my vibrato is bad. I was not happy. And just now on the bubbleator, all of a sudden, I realized my vibrato was cut at least in half. And I'm really surprised. I fought that for years. Old guy vibrato. And so, yeah, that's probably enough right there.
Yeah, okay, good. Um, I feel like I'm in one of those infomercials, But anyway, so and where we started with this, with the conversation with Ed, is so if he's struggling, if he's having a hard time with that spot, and it is, in that range for the basses and basses especially, it's not that high, but it's just high enough, and you're getting out of your comfort zone, and because it's quiet, you feel like you can't really engage. But we're working on learning how to engage, and that's another thing that the straw phonation does is really require you to be engaged with that core, with those core muscles. So let's go to Christmas memories now. Let's go to to one of the ooh sections, and I would like to experiment with that with you all. Doing it with straw and then back to text. Also, actually, what I talked to Ed about was suggesting that he or we try it on some of those semi-occluded vocal tract exercises. In other words, M, N, and NG, or V, Z, 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 exercises where you are causing a back pressure from your lips or from your tongue that causes a similar effect to the straw phonation and gives you some feedback through the back pressure that gives you an idea of whether you can sustain that tone and what quality you have as you sustain it. So first of all, let's go to, I think what I want you to do, everybody, is hear your own part if you can. And we're going to start at measure 27 in the choral excerpts there, the first onset of the choir on the ooh spot. So here's a D flat. So the basses are going to sing ooh. That's the basses. Tenors are here on a B flat. Tenors are here and then they're ooh up there. Ooh, and altos start on that F, ooh, and then the sopranos are on they're on that B flat also, up the octave. Okay, so remember that you have the first two measures, and then you breathe after that, and then you have the four measures after that all together. So I'm going to sing the bass part myself right now. And I'm going to do it with the straw, and then I'm going to go back. We'll do it again, and we'll do it with the vowels at that point. That's the bass note. 1, 2, 3. Now, if you don't have straw phonation, I would like you to be doing some sort of semi-occluded vocal tract exercise. You choose the consonant, the buzz or the hum, or the lip trill or the tongue trill. Any of those will be fine. Now, as I sang that with the straw, it felt to me pretty smooth. Let's go to a vowel. No, let's do it again. Choose this time, straw, hum or buzz, or vowel. You can do any of those. Here we go. 2, 3, and now, if you were doing straw, switch to a v, to a hum or a buzz. 2, 3, and go. Not as easy for me. Switch to the vowel. 1, 2, 3, and Okay, so I'm curious, anybody got a comment? Did you find, was the consonant helpful? Was the straw helpful? What happened when you switched to the vowel? Anything? Anybody want to say? And even if you don't, you still have things that you can be discovering for yourself, and that's fine. So this is all about you learning on your own. Yes, go ahead, Ed.
Straw makes me sing forward. If I do the oohs, forward.
Aha.
I'm semi-rescued.
Okay, okay, that's good. That's good. Yes, George, go ahead. And you're still muted, George. Go ahead. There you go.
Okay. I find if I take a breath after the third measure, measure 29, after the E flat, then I can get through to the rest of the phrase without having to take another breath, if that's all right.
Well, it is. Well, I definitely want you to breathe after the second measure. Do not carry through there because everybody else needs to be phrasing in that way. And so if you don't breathe there, then I'll have to cut you. I'll have to cut anybody's vocal part there.
Okay.
Like that, Brian. Yeah. No. What I mean to say is if I've got 40 singers that are breathing together at that spot, and I've got 2 singers or something like that that carry on, I have to manufacture a breath for those singers. So please do take the breath. You can also take the breath after the E flat if you want. That's
All
fine.
right. Okay.
But you can't get away with that. So, and this happened in Sing On. There were places where some of the sopranos, for example, didn't breathe in certain spots and they carried over. And so I have to manufacture breaths for you. So do follow the markings, but you can breathe extra spots. That's fine. Now, I want to go back to what Ed was saying in terms of singing forward, right? There's a quality of, remember how we worked in rehearsals when we were meeting together? We did things like experimenting with putting things in the back of your throat, right? Talking like that, as opposed to talking like that and making it really bright and nasty and annoying. So the thing about singing with things in with the tone quality and the resonance feeling like it's happening in the back of your throat is that it usually is connected to not being supported very well with your breath. And as Ed was saying, the thing about the placement, the thing about the resonance of strophonation is that it helps you find a place that is more supported and that tends to be more forward, like he was saying, more of that bright quality of tone. So, and that's a good thing for 90% of singers. There are a few singers who their tone is already bright and that might not work well for them. But for most people, they tend to be back a little bit, especially as people get older with their singing. Okay, I think we can move on from that, but thank you, Ed, for bringing that up. And remember, everybody, when you bring up something, it's 90%, 99% likely that somebody else in the group is going to have a similar issue. And it gives me something to teach about, and it gives people something to learn about. And so this is good. So, all right. We want to do a similar sort of thing, however, on the next entrance for the choir, Coming Home in Christmas Memories, because there the issue is we're not starting on the oo, we're starting on the k of coming. And how do we get past that right into the vowel so that we're singing a good quality tone right off the bat? Something that I hear also in tracks is sometimes people do not sing the right pitch to start with. And this is, sometimes it's stylistic and sometimes it's just not necessarily intentional. And so I would like it to be intentional for each person that they're thinking about the way that they're starting each pitch, especially at the beginning of a phrase, and being aware if they're sliding up. So coming, and really maybe I should have done that more on the oo, because when you sing ka, you're less likely to slide in on that. We'll see. So I want to do that section again. I mean that section now. There's an E flat. No, D flat. D flat. Bass is coming home. Tenors are coming home, right? I think I'll go with the tenors right now because
Adam,
that's a different feel. Yep.
where are you? What piece are you on and where are you?
Christmas Memories, the next entrance. Yep. We were just on Christmas Memories. The first entrance was measure 27.
49.
So measure 49. Yep. So here's the B flat for the tenors and the sopranos. And what I want you to think about as you're singing, let's do 3 attacks. We'll do 3 onsets. And I would like you to see how close your ah is following the C. Is it ah? Is it delayed? Is it ka? Is it right with it? Let's do it. 2, 3. Ka. Again. Ka. Again. Ka. Thanks, George. I'm going to mute you now. I had you with us. Do you find that the vowel follows directly after? Do you find that the C stops something in your singing and makes it harder for you to get to the vowel? experiment with this. Sing a G, ah. So ga, ga, like that. We'll do 3 of them. 2, 3, and go. Ga, this is G-A. Ga, again. Ga. Now for me, that's easier to do. I don't have the release of breath, the puff of air after come that happens with a C. The ga is a more collected bit. It collects my air and releases it straight into the vowel in a more effective way for me. This is just an example of ways that you can experiment with different consonants that can help you or hinder you in terms of how you're singing a phrase. In fact, if you were to sing "gumming home" in these recordings, it probably would work. It would probably be fine. It would come across as a coming home. But you know, you can also find your way somewhere between a G and a C. Come, that's pretty close to a C, but I was thinking about a little bit of a G as I did it. Let's experiment. Let's do it again. 3 onsets. You choose between a C or a G. Okay, 2 in terms of a consonant. 2, 3, and go. Ka, ka, come. For me, I hear a clarity in my onset, which is exactly what I'm looking for. And hopefully you're finding that as well. And that goes straight into a vowel, which I feel pretty happy about. Partly, I'm thinking about the vowel before I sing it. So you remember we've talked about that. Breathing in the vowel that you're about to sing and maintaining that shape in your mouth and in your physicality so that you're not changing midway. That's probably partly what's happening sometimes when people are singing pitches that start below and slide up to the real pitch. Coming home, right? They haven't really been perhaps prepared and mindful of what the pitch is that they intend to sing. So how were you doing on that? Do you know, can you tell when you were sliding up on a pitch or when you were, whether it was intentional or not? Let's go back to measure 27, back to the oo, because I want to do that sliding. I want to experiment and work on the sliding without the C causing complications. So this is back to the oo at measure 27. And there's the B flat and the soprano's B flat and the altos. Is that your F? Yep. And the basses. Is that right? Oops, wait, sorry, basses. Oh. Let's do 3 onsets on your first note. And what I want you to be listening for as you're doing this is, can you hear that you're singing the correct pitch? Can you hear if you're sliding up to the pitch? Is it, do you know? Can you tell? Okay, so here we go to, I'm going to sing the B flat that the tenors are doing. 2, 3. Ooh, I'm going to slide up this time. Ooh, I'm going to not slide up. Ooh, I'm going to slide up again. Ooh, I'm going to slide up faster this time. Ooh, no slide this time. Ooh. So what did you find? Were you able to control it, to make it a choice which way you were doing it, whether there was a slide or not? Sometimes I think that people, when they're singing, they're not thinking about starting on the actual pitch that they intend to sing, and they slide up to it. So that's something that we want to work on here, and we also want to work on that when we get back together and we're singing in the same room and we can actually hear what we're doing. So, yeah, questions, thoughts, things that we want to work on that some more? That was a little fast, but part of the reason is I can't hear you, so I don't really know what you're doing, and I can only. So you figured out. All right, let's do Gloria, the section at measure 67, please. Now, actually, here we are with a G and an L that starts the phrase. Now, the L isn't exactly helpful. It'd be better if we were singing Gloria, but people might not like that very much, so we won't do that. Gla. In this case, there's going to be a pitch on that L, right? It's a pitched consonant. Gla. But you can't have that be too long. Got to get right past it. And probably sopranos, especially at measure 67, you're going to want to sing that so that the G and the L are ahead of the beat, so that the O is happening right on the beat where it should. This is something, again, this is tricky to do when you can't hear each other. This is something that we do as a group pretty naturally, but it's, again, something to be thinking about when you're on your own. And can you hear what you're doing? And can you make a choice about how you're doing it? So I'm going to sing the soprano part. And sopranos, please join me, and anybody else who wants to sing that too. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Right, that's it. About this tempo. Bum, 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 ba bum. 1, 2, and 3. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. And we'll stop there. That's all. We'll go on. No ding dongs for right now. Now, question, sopranos, and anybody else singing that. Did you feel like you were A, singing the right pitch when you started the phrase? That was one of the things we were working on before. B, getting the G and the L out of the way so that you could get the O right at the start of the phrase, right on the first beat, which means that the G and the L would be slightly ahead. Let's do it again. 1. I gave you 3 counts as just because. 1, 2, and 3. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Now we could do that glory in a couple different ways. This last time I did it really short. I made the G and the L so short that they were just momentary before the phrase, before the beat of the O. But you could do it that it's longer. You could give it so that there's actually some pitch heard on that L. Glow, glow, like that. So experiment with that. Make it a choice that you are making right now to sing the G and the L ahead of the beat and try what that feels like. 1, 2, and 3. Gloria in excelsis Deo. Gloria in excelsis Deo. So, does that help you clarify? Does that help you understand where you tend to put those consonants? I don't think that I want you to be that far ahead of the beat. That would be something we could try when we were together. I think I would rather have it be a kind of discrete last minute glory like that. But I wanted to explore having you work on that so that you know what you're doing. You have a clear idea what sound you're producing. That's one of the things that this venue is helping us with, is to give us an idea, is to give us some opportunities to really listen for details like that and to understand what it is that we're doing, especially when it's unintentional. So now altos and basses and tenors, on your ooh spots at measure 67 and going on from there, if you look at the original score, you'll notice that the do's are not there. It's just all ooh, ooh, ooh. And I put those D's in to help you clarify where those pitches happen as you change. So you can soften those D's. I definitely don't want a strong sibilant, do, 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 do. That would not be the style that I'm looking for. All I want it to be is a helpful clarification for you in terms of where those pitches change, like I was saying earlier, so that you are being clear in your pitches and clear in your syllables and making them distinct from each other. Let's do the alto part. I'm going to sing that. Let's see, here's an E flat. So it's do, 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 do. We'll start in measure 67. And we'll also have that chance to work on the Gloria too, altos, and your actual part. Here we go. 1, 2, and 3. Do, 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 Gloria in excelsis Deo. Now I can't help singing that phrase, those phrases, without being sprightly. That's how I feel about them. And part of the reason why is because that G natural is easy to sing flat. And so I'm thinking lift on the G to make sure I sing the right note there. But it also, and there's an oddness to the harmony there for the altos. It's a surprising note for you. But but I think that makes it more fun that way. So we've got all kinds of things going on. And I don't mean to make this more complicated, but I just want to share with you how many things there are. And you don't have to think about them all at once, but how many things there are that you can explore and say, what am I doing there? Oh, and what am I doing there? And I could do that better. So let's go back to that altos again and see what you do this time. 1, 2, and 3. Do, Gloria in excelsis Deo. And that helps if you are sprightly and with vigor on those phrases, then that helps prepare you for the ding, ding, dong. Let's do that, altos, right there at measure 71. Here's your A flat. It's an A flat, it's there. Oh, I went sharp, okay. Ooh, I think I might need to hear something to hear. Okay. Let's see. What am I going to do? I'm going to hear the bass part because that's going to help me hear. Ding, ding, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong. Ding, altos, ding, ding, dong. Measure 71. Here we go, altos. Now, everybody can work on their dings and their dongs to make sure that they're resonating on that consonant, that semi-occluded vocal tract consonant. Here we go, altos. 1, 2, and 3. Ding, ding, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong, ding, dong, ding. And that's it. So when I'm thinking about singing those dings and those dongs, I'm really enjoying, I really think of it as enjoying those ringing NG sounds, just like when we were speaking the words. I can't help enjoying saying those things. So here, once you're clear about which is a ding and which is a dong, because that does take a little bit of processing power in my mind, but we want to go for that sound and enjoy it as much as you can. Sopranos, I'm curious, are any of you having troubles as you get up into the upper part of your range on those dings and those dongs? Yeah, okay. So as you're singing them, I'm curious how tightly people think about closing down to that NG. Is it tighter than it needs to be? Can it be just a little kind of relaxing of the tongue up against the roof of the mouth as you say a ding dong? So let me hear, well, I'm not going to hear, but let's have you practice those dings and dongs, sopranos 1 and 2, and tenors too, same issue for you. As you get into the upper range and basses also, sorry, I keep forgetting, you have that D flat and the E flat up there, it gets up there for you. So one of the things that's going to work against you is if you're too tight and you're closing down on those sounds, on those NGs. Let's all start at measure 71. Here's an A flat for basses, tenors, altos, soprano, etc. Okay, so you're going to sing your ding dong section. You're going to be easy in here and relaxed and just doing as little work with your tongue as you can. And 1, 2, and 3. Ding dong, ding dong, ding ding dong, ding ding dong dong. Ooh. Doesn't really matter what part I was singing, but I might have gotten off a little bit. Anyway, I'm curious, sopranos, tenors, particularly basses in the high range, did you feel any difference that time when you sang your ums? Were you aware of a greater freedom in that than you had before? Maybe, maybe not. Okay. So this is something to experiment with, to explore. Let's do this though. Let's do a little straw on those dings and those dongs. And basses, I'm almost going to guarantee that you're going to find an easier time hitting the D flat and the E flat when you do it with the straw. At least I know I will. There's that A flat again, and the tenors and the soprano too. 1, 2, and 3. And then let's do it again on the dings and dongs. Ding dong, ding, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong, ding dong. Ooh. I'm finding it so much easier after I did it with the straw. The second time I went through that, singing the bass part. Now, granted, those pitches are not a challenge for me as they might be for some of the basses, because I live in no man's land between tenor and bass, barely tenor. That's what you call me. Anyway, but I found that it's easier for me to reach that D flat and the E flat with ease after I've set up the feeling of technique that the straw helps me do. Okay, so other thoughts, other questions, where are we at? Let's go back a little bit and do that all then. And I think what we'll do is I'll pull up Logic and I'll do it from, I'll do it from a little bit in the, excuse me, sorry, I've done something with my program I didn't mean to do. Ah, good. So I'm gonna share the Logic with you, and I'm gonna play the song, and we'll do bits of that and think about your onsets. You might even, if you want to, you might even get your recorder going so that you're actually making the recording right now while we're singing. You don't have to do that. If it doesn't feel good, then forget it. But you might find that to be something worth doing. I'm making a couple adjustments here, settings, so that we can do this. Okay, so now I'm going to share with you. Any questions before? We're going to start basically just a few measures before your first entrance at measure 27 in the song. Okay, so sharing screen. I will need some confirmation that you can hear. So somebody gives me a thumbs up. Okay, good. So I'm going to turn that volume up a little bit. Hope I don't blast you all. And let's go back to first entrance or so. You can hear it enough? Okay. So remember that ooh. You're going to choose where that happens. You're going to sing the right pitch. Okay, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to go back. We'll do it again. I would encourage anybody who wants to, wasn't happy with what they did just now, do it with a straw. See what it feels like. And when you're recording, I might even say this. I think I could live with this as the editor. If you want to do it twice in your recording, do it with the straw. Go back immediately and do it again with the real vowels on your recording. You could try that. That'd be interesting. Okay, here we go again. I'm going to give you a few measures and do it with the straw or again on the vowels, your choice.
The sweet Christmas memories will never fade away, and we're coming on the Christmas day to our sweetest memories.
Okay. And though it's lovely, I'm going to skip ahead.
Coming back to a warm embrace
Two
where those
measures.
memories never
I'll measure 1, 2.
and we're coming home. We're coming home on Christmas Day to our sweetest memories.
I'll let it keep playing. So you're thinking about where the G and the L happen. Thinking about the vowel that you're about to sing. Think about sprightliness. Easy neck, easy shoulders.
we're coming
4, 5, 6.
We're
1, 2,
coming
3, 4,
home
5,
for
6. 1,
Christmas
4.
Day to our sweetest memories.
All right. So one of the things that I've heard, a little bit of feedback, is that it's a little trickier in this song, and especially at that last phrase there. It's a little bit trickier to know exactly where your pitches change, particularly altos for you. So probably you'll need to follow that video. You'll need to follow my conducting because I think I'm pretty clear there. I hope I'm clear. And then the other thing to keep in mind is that I can edit, I can change it, I can shift where you change your pitch if it doesn't happen to be in the right spot. So really don't worry too much about it. The main thing is to think about the quality of your tone, keep the energy going, and again, switch back and forth from straw if you need to. While Eric's singing, you could be singing with him, maybe sing the melody with him on the straw, even though it's not what you're about to sing with your own vocal part. Just the fact that you are singing through the straw probably is going to put you in the right frame of voice, frame of technique, that you will be prepared for your actual part when it's time to come in on that. It's something you might try. Okay, any other questions about Christmas memories? All right, let's go back over to Santa Gets a Suntan then, and we'll finish up with a little bit more of that. Okay, so we did some work. We've only just begun on the first three phrases of Down Under Santa Gets a Suntan in terms of really feeling the fascinating, wonderful sequence of voiced consonants in that section and enjoying those. So I want to do that before we go on to the fast section one more time. We'll do it again. I would like you to switch back and forth between straw and not straw as you wish, but I encourage you to do at least one phrase in this opening section with the straw. And I will again, I've pulled up the Logic file so we can listen to that and you can hear it and sing along with it. Be conscious, especially at the beginning of each phrase, but really throughout, are you singing the notes that you intend to? Are you sliding up to a pitch? Are you coming in right on it? Can you hear it in your mind before you are about to sing it? That's a big part of being sure that you are going to sing the right note when you start singing. So here's Down Under, and I'll share the screen once again. And go back to the beginning here. Oh, I don't know if it, let's see. Here's the bass part for Santa Gets a Suntan. 1, 2, 3. Down under Santa gets a suntan. There's no snow at Christmas. No snow. Very distinct. In the soft Pacific summertime. Easy. The only white that's ever seen is cricket on the bowling green. 1, 2, 3. We'll keep going for a bit. 1, 2, 3. There's no snow at Christmas in the South Pacific summertime. The days are warm. 4. And barbecues are light, 'cause down under Santa gets a suntan. How's your neck? Rudolph puts cream on his nose. Easy, easy. Down under Santa gets a suntan. It's off to the beach. Throw off your clothes.
There's no snow at Christmas in the South Pacific summertime. Friends come round, turn up the sound, dancing through the night. 'Cause down under Santa gets a suntan. Rudolph puts cream on his nose. Down under Santa gets a suntan. It's off to the beach. Throw off your clothes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. We don't mind tradition. And now we've got our own. You'll still see the Christmas tree twinkling in our homes. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. You'll hear Christmas songs about sleigh rides in the snow. But Christmas time down under is different 'cause you know. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. There's no snow at Christmas in the South Pacific summertime. Christmas spirit in the sun. South Pacific summertime. 'Cause down under Santa gets a suntan. Rudolph puts cream on his nose. Down under Santa gets a suntan. It's off to the beach. Throw off your clothes.
Okay, gonna stop there. I'll prevent you from finishing this just for the moment. Let's go back to the bridge section, page 29. We don't mind tradition. And just to review a little bit of the rhythm there. So as you saw, as we were going, I mean, there's not much I can do with the logic because I think that if I sing, it could be disconnected and confusing and annoying. So I don't do much singing while I got logic playing, but I can at least show you how I feel about the song, right? And how I would encourage you to be moving while you're singing. But I was thinking about those entrances, right, on those phrases. We've talked before about how the rhythm is different in each one of those, how the pickups sometimes are quarter notes or eighth notes or no pickup at all. And you want to be really clear about what each of those is from the start. So I was interested in saying if we could just do an exercise where you speak and maybe point or do something. Sometimes, I love to tap on my head when I'm working on a rhythm thing. So 1, 2, 3, we don't mind tradition, 1, 2, 3. And now we've got our own. 1, 2, 3. You'll still see the Christmas tree. 1, 2, 3. Twinkling in our homes. Now, if you've got the beat going steadily, somehow you can use a metronome if you want, not right now, but sometime, just to practice this feeling of, do you know exactly when it's going to happen? 1, 2, 3. We don't mind tradition. And the thing is, each one of these phrases, the stress is still on the first beat of the measure that you're leading into. We don't mind tradition. 1, 2, 3. And now we've got our own, right? 1, 2, 3. You'll still see the Christmas tree. 1, 2, 3, 4. Twinkling in our homes. Feel it that way. Really get the emphasis there. Get the feeling of where the one is, and let that be something that just informs you in every phrase. So let's see. And then that similarly, if you go back a page, go back to say 20. Yeah, let's go with 25. To 25 at the bottom score there. And barbecues light. So there, the contrast, of course, is that you're not coming on the first beat. You're coming in on 3, 4, and barbecues light. It's really that you're heading to light. All of and barbecues is anacrusic, is heading towards light. 3, 4, and barbecues light. So you see where the emphasis is on light there. But having that sense again of where the beat is, where that one is all the time. Let's go back to There's No Snow at Christmas, speaking from measure, what is that? Measure 1918. coming in there, tapping if you like to, tapping on your body. Actually, let me just tell a tangent once. I remember Jeffrey Boers at University of Washington, one of my first concerts that I sang for him when I was there in my graduate studies, doctoral studies. We had a concert that was for a group of, were they faculty or something? I'm not sure. And we sang for them, and he got them all doing rhythm. We were actually doing Betelehemu, I think. And he had them pull out their keys, you know, and had them shaking their keys as a rhythmic instrument. And we've talked a little bit about having people do rhythm for Betelehemu, and a few people of you have submitted, and that's fine. I think we've got enough of that, actually. But I still want to encourage you to find ways to explore and express rhythm in your daily life all the time. Well, not all the time, right? You got to take a break now and then. But let that be part of what you do to express your inner musicality. And in this case, it's helpful that you can feel that sense of rhythm, and it helps you be clear on how your vocal part relates to the beat of the song. So right, so I'm doing, in this case, I'm doing taka 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 taka. I'm doing like 16th notes in this case. 1, 2, 3. There's no snow at Christmas in the South Pacific summertime. The days are warm. I've got lots of experience doing this, and so it's easy for me to coordinate my voice and the rhythmic instrument. You don't necessarily have to do both if you find it to be difficult, but I encourage you to explore that kind of thing, not just for this current recording project that we're on, but for your long-term skills as musicians and your sense of rhythmic clarity. All right, let's go ahead. You can tap on your head, you can tap on the table, you can shake something or do whatever. But meanwhile, you're also thinking about how your vocal parts fits in with all this rhythm. Okay, let's go from measure 17. So 1, 2, 3, bum, 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 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, ready? There's no snow at Christmas in the South Pacific summertime. The days are warm. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 1. And barbecues are light, 'cause down under Santa gets a suntan. Rudolph puts cream on his nose. Down under Santa gets a suntan. It's off to the beach. Throw off your clothes. All right, so that's the kind of thing. Now let's go back and do that again, this time with singing. You can still shake something if you want, but let's go back and sing the section, The Only Way That's Ever Seen is Christmas Song. Where are we at? We're going to be here. Okay, so let me share the screen so you can listen. And here we go. I'm going to finish the only white that's ever seen. We'll do it.
Summertime.
2, 3.
The only white that's ever seen is cricket on the bowling green.
1, 2, 3. Boom, boom, boom.
1, 2, 3. There's no snow at Christmas in the South Pacific summertime. The days are warm. And barbecues are light, 'cause down under Santa gets a suntan. Rudolph puts cream on his nose. Down under Santa gets a suntan. It's off to the beach. Throw off your clothes. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. There's no snow at Christmas in the South Pacific summertime. Friends come round, turn up the sound, and sing through the night. 'Cause down under Santa gets a suntan. Rudolph puts cream on his nose. Down under Santa gets a suntan. It's off to the beach. Throw off your clothes.
1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3.
We don't mind tradition. And now we've got our own. You'll You'll still see the Christmas tree twinkling in our homes.
1, 2, 3.
You'll hear Christmas songs about sleigh rides in the snow. But Christmas time down under is different, 'cause you know. 1, 2. There's no snow at Christmas in the South Pacific summertime. Christmas spirit in the sun, South Pacific summertime. 'Cause down under Santa gets a suntan. Rudolph puts cream on his nose. Down under Santa gets a suntan. It's off to the beach. Throw off your clothes.
Now, this last section, think about it being very legato like the beginning section was. It's not, doesn't have to be the same kind of pound, pound, pound.
1, 2, 3, 4, 1. In the South Pacific summertime.
Boom. All right. So, good. Good. I hope that was fun for you as it was for me. So, I miss being able to, dance in front of you while I'm conducting. So, we'll get back to that. We surely will. So I really don't have more to add for tonight. We can stop a few minutes early. But before we do, anybody have any last questions? Hopefully some among you are inspired to help me out with the PowerPoint slideshows, particularly Betelehemu solstice song, Christmas memories. I will be asking, well, depending on what response I get from you. And remember, I've asked you to send me an email if you're interested in doing that. And what I will do is I will give you access to Dropbox to the folders where the files, the photos are, and also the PowerPoint templates that you will need to use to work with. But I'll explain all that when you email me and say you're interested, right? So we won't take the time for that now. But I do need the help, and I'm going to be, if I don't get it from this set of people, I'll be asking the larger corral for help, and then if I don't get it from there, then I'll freak out. No, just kidding. No, then I'll figure something out. There are always people to reach out to, and so I can figure something out. But yeah, so things are coming together. I'm hopeful that maybe, see, I don't want to commit myself, but it's possible that next week I can play you a version of Sing On, of your singing of Sing On. That should be the first one that we have ready. And I'm hopeful that you will be proud and happy with what you hear. So thank you for all your efforts. And it's a story we're telling, that there are lots of stories individually. Oh, Candy's not here, but I got to tell this story before we go. I think this is how I'll end the rehearsal. So as you know, especially earlier on, I was sending emails to people and giving them a little bit of feedback about what I was hearing, particularly if there were things that were like, this may need to be different or better. And not necessarily in singing, but sometimes in terms of ambient noise. So I sent an email to Candy and I asked him, he said it was okay to share, though I was hoping he would be here. But then I emailed him and I said, Candy, I swear I could hear like really big engines, like on a ship or something. And I could swear that I was hearing seals barking. And he replied and he said, well, actually, I work at Naval Station Everett, and the ships, he was recording Betelehemu in his truck, and the ships were right over there and the seals were right over there. And so I was actually hearing seals and big ship engines. And it's really interesting, how ambient noise comes across. There's a 60 cycle hum, for example, in a lot of electric appliances. And there are certain predictable pitches. And those big ship engines, they're way down there, 20 hertz or 10 hertz or something, cycles that are so slow that we feel them more than hear them, really. But they come across they will be in the recordings. So please don't go and
Let's-
record
let's-
at the naval
Let's
station.
talk to the elephants.
What's that? Yeah,
Talking
exactly. And the
to
whales.
the elephant.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Well, actually, the whales do high frequencies too. But
Yeah.
yeah. So anyway, just thought that was a fun story. And we all have our things that we deal with to make these recordings work. So, but again, thank you for all of your efforts. So we
Thank you, Adam.
everybody say goodbye to each other and thank you.
Bye-bye.
Happy
Bye.
Thanksgiving.
Happy Thanksgiving.
Thanksgiving, yes. Happy Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Thanks.
Bye, Marilyn. Thanks,
Bye-bye,
Adam.
Debbie. Thank you.
Bye,
Happy
Chloe.
Thanksgiving.
Bye.
Bye.
Bye, Quasi.
Bye, Cozy.
Bye,
Yes.
whoever that was.
Judy, maybe.
Happy Thanksgiving,
Bye,
everybody.
bye-bye.
Bye.
Adam, I'm
Bye.
grateful for
Bye.
you.
Bye,
Thank you.
Cozy.
Thank you, Quasi.
Thanks for
Goodbye.
the work, Adam.
Good night. You're welcome. Thank you.
Adam.
Yeah.
Okay, I got the two after forcing myself. I don't know solstice songs as well as I thought I did, but
Mhm.
I'll so you want it in the next few days, right? By Saturday?
By Sunday. By
Sunday.
Sunday.
Solstice, and yeah, I know the Down Under, and I'll try to send at least a couple of random photos,
Okay.
kittens or
sounds good.
grandkids or me with me and whoever.
Mhm.
I'll see. Hopefully, some of it's usable.
Not bad. Yeah.
Thank you.
Okay. Thank
Night.
you. Good night. Good night, Karen.